Ready?
Nice. All right, we're rolling.
We're rolling, and so 3, 2, 1.
Make the sound noise.
Let's go.
All right.
All right. Hi, everyone.
How you doing?
Welcome to the first Thug Pugs Talks series.
Episode 1.
I'm Alex. I'm joined by Affy. Affy from Okra, and I'm from the Thug Pugs crew. So today we're gonna meet Affy, learn more about him, and learn more about his company Okra, and we're gonna discuss a project that we have going together.
Nice. Hopefully we get to learn a little bit about you as well, the mysterious man Alex.
You're the star of the show, man. So let's go, Affy. What can you tell me about your origins?
Nice. Well, bit of background before that. Alex, the man, has kindly hosted us at the co-working space Liberdade 229 in Lisbon, Portugal. So this is where we're temporarily based out of, as we've just entered Europe. But my origins, where to start? As a baby,
Yeah, let's start before you were a baby.
Okay,
let's go.
Pre-launch. Pre-launch, we would say.
Where did the Okra journey start, or the Affy journey start, before Okra became a thing for you in your life?
Yeah, nice. So I know we should keep this short. So basically, I was born in Bangladesh, right? And I grew up in Australia, but from time to time I would go back to Bangladesh. And I remember going back to rural communities to visit a bunch of my family and my cousins, and I was just bored. I was like, what the hell is there to do over here? There's no television, there's no internet, this is boring as, right? And a large part of that is because they didn't even have electricity out there, right? So we ended up having a lot of fun playing with each other, but it got me thinking, a lot of the things that I was doing in Australia, such as, building websites with my brother, or building robots with electronics, and learning all this stuff online, these opportunities were not available to so many people in the world. So actually quite early in my journey, as you say, I was like, you know what? Let's figure out how we can get electricity to the roughly 1 billion people, 1 out of 7 people in the world that don't have access to power.
1 in 7.
It's crazy. 1 in 7. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. But so robotics, websites, how did that come about?
These are just hobbies. So, I went to this kind of tutoring program called Kumon. Don't know if you've heard of it, but
I haven't.
It's like a Japanese style of teaching mathematics, really hammering it into you and get there, get it done, get ahead of everyone in the pack.
So this is outside of school?
Outside of school, yeah. So my parents enrolled me in this Japanese tutoring program, and when I was in year 6, 7, I was already 3.5 years ahead of curriculum.
All right.
So I'd go to school and I'd have nothing to learn because I've already learned it all, right?
All right.
And so when I'd go home, the homework was so easy. Me and my brother would figure out how to do fun things to keep us occupied. Right. So Real Robots was one of those things that you can buy as a subscription. They send you some parts and then you need to put it together and do some basic programming to make sure that this thing can actually work and not run into walls and stuff. Super cool stuff. And yeah, that's really how it began. Same as websites. We're all right, HTML, how can we make a background and change the color from green to black using HTML code? But yeah, this is what we were doing in early high school days.
All right, so that brings us to tech. But just a question. So you mentioned Real Robots.
Yeah.
Do you think, is that still a thing?
I've got no idea. I got to check in on it. Yeah.
I'm gonna look into it and maybe add it to the description if it's still a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. All right, so your brother, younger, older?
The brother I'm talking about, his older brother.
All right.
Also got a younger brother. Yeah.
All right, but yeah, he was your partner in crime in this.
He was my partner in crime, and he wanted to study and become an engineer. My parents were like, "No, you have to become a lawyer."
All right.
So he became a lawyer, and then I kind of followed his dream and became an engineer.
All right. So, all right. That's amazing. So you went on to study engineering after school.
That's right. I mean, solving energy access, how do you do that? And
so you already went to university with that in your mind?
Yeah, going into university, I was like, all right, what are the tools that I need to solve this problem? And one of the obvious things were that, there's 1 billion people, at that time it was about 1.2 billion people, who don't have access to the electricity grid. they live in the most hardest to reach, far-flung areas of the world. Like there's no roads there. You might need to take a boat there. Some of these houses are like floating houses, right? So how is the electricity grid going to extend there? And it was pretty obvious that it's going to be very, very challenging. So distributed energy, so solar and wind, all of these energy solutions were, already on the decline of the cost curve. And I was like, I'm going to study renewable energy systems so that, I can understand how these technologies can be applied to bring energy access out to these communities.
All right, that's amazing. Such drive from such a young age. Because where were you at the time? Like 18?
At this time, I was like, between 14 and 17. I was, going to Bangladesh, coming back and being inspired by this kind of problem. As most people are like inspired by a solution, I was inspired by the problem, right? So yeah, at that age, yeah.
Wow, amazing. All right, and so I guess Okra started happening in college at the time.
Yeah, well, so we call college university.
University?
Yeah, but for sure, in university it was really like learning, not just about Okra, but also like, entrepreneurship, because I didn't want to, what was my option, like work at, Shell or BP and try to solve energy access from there, or, start things up yourself, and especially in a place where, things need to be thought of completely differently. Forget the old grid, forget coal, forget, traditional energy sources. Things need to be reimagined from the start. So I need to figure out how to start a company, how to grow a team and all that. So I focused a lot on just launching a bunch of startups at university, and also learning about renewable energy, yeah.
All right. And when did you meet your co-founders?
My one co-founder, great question. Co-founders are always the best. I mean, how could you go anywhere without your co-founders, right? They pick you up when you're down, and you're down often in this journey. But basically, we were in a company. So straight after university, we joined an IoT company, both independently.
All right.
And we'd finish work at like 5 o'clock. And then from 5 till midnight, we'd both be hustling on independent ideas.
All right.
And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm trying to launch this app. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, man, I've launched this app and I'm trying to figure out how to distribute it. And then we'd just play table tennis at night and be talking about, heaps of smack. And then at one point, I was like, man, what if we could combine our skills? So he was a software dev, a gun software dev, and I was working in product. And I was like, what if we could combine our skills and use it to solve energy access? And he's like, solve energy access? How are we going to do that? And I'm like, I don't know yet, but I reckon we could do it. And so convinced him to move to Cambodia, of all countries. And then we started going out to villages, talking to energy companies, figuring out what the hell is going on in this space, and how can we figure it out as two naive engineers to solve this problem.
All right, beautiful. And when did Okra actually start?
Okra started at the end of 2016, officially, with like a crowdfunding campaign.
All right.
Yeah, super exciting time.
I can imagine. So you crowdfunded. What did you do? What was the crowdfunding campaign about?
So the crowdfunding campaign, so keep in mind we were working at an IoT company, so
Right.
basically like automating buildings to reduce their energy footprint.
All right.
And then after we went to Cambodia, we had an initial problem that we saw, and that was like, all of these households can't afford a solar panel or a battery, it's too expensive.
Okay.
But then there's one house nearby that has like a massive system, and they're just running like a couple of light bulbs, right? And then maybe the house next door to it has like a tiny system because that's all they could afford, and they have all these appliances like a fridge, and they just can't run it because there's not enough power. So we're like, wait a second, there's extra power here, it's not being used, and there's all these other households who need power so bad that some of them are willing to buy diesel fuel from miles away and run a generator. Or even more crazy, some households had a car battery, and they were sending this car battery like 10 kilometers on a boat to get charged up from someone who has a diesel generator or who's on a town with the grid, bringing that battery back just to charge their mobile phone, right? So like there's demand, people are willing to pay for power,
Right.
and there's other people who have excess power. What if we could kind of like join these dots together?
Uh-huh.
That was really the genesis, and then we were like, all right, let's build a prototype. we quickly put a prototype together with like Arduino.
Okay.
And at that point, we're like, all right, well, we're going to need some money to scale this. Let's see if anyone thinks this is a cool idea.
All right.
And then we created a crowdfunding campaign. Yeah.
All right. And so basically that's where Okra is born. This technology that allows you to take power from a source and then share it in a community, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, really leveraging distributed energy to be fully distributed. It can be installed anywhere. And then imagine you can connect these systems up together, and then a smart grid that will share and rebalance the power to where it's needed the most, to really optimize for the efficiency of the power. And there's an interesting thing that we actually found out later on, but when we were talking to energy companies, we're like, why don't you just set up, mini grids in these rural villages? Solar panels and batteries are coming down in price heaps. And they were like, well, actually, yeah, batteries and panels are coming down in price, but just these fat cables to take power from one side of the village all the way to the other side of the village, that costs a lot of money. So transmission and distribution costs are making up 50% of the cost of setting up the mini grid. And so one of the things that we stumbled across as we, deployed this power sharing prototype was when you're only sharing like a tiny bit of power, the excess power from one house to the next, it's going a short distance and it's a small amount of power. Okay. So you need like a fraction of the cable size, about 1/10 of the cable size.
Okay.
So you can reduce the cost of transmission and distribution by going fully distributed by about 90%. And we just stumbled across that, yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay, so that's amazing. All right, so you build this prototype, and then when you're going to implement it, you figure out how to make the whole implementation a lot more efficient than it has ever been.
Literally, yes.
That's amazing. All right, so you fast forward 5 years, and now Okra is, how big are you? How many houses have you electrified, and where are you at your journey right now?
Yeah, nice. So keep in mind the hardware from making it work on a table to then making it work in a house to then actually selling that at scale and making sure it does not break so people always have power.
Right.
That's a bit of a crazy journey, right?
Yeah, in and of itself, it's a challenge.
Yeah, it's insane the number of adventures we've had in doing that. But over the last 3 years, or the first 3 years, sorry, we really got our prototypes and our proof of concepts up to scratch.
All right.
So that's optimizing, the user experience, optimizing the reliability, optimizing the manufacturing process. Right. Imagine you've got 500 plus components on a printed circuit board. If one of these components get soldered in the wrong way, or one of the components fail, then the entire system is not working, yes. Right? So we really needed to put a lot of work into that. But after about 3 years, we're like, okay, cool. So that's about 2 years ago from now.
Right.
It's like, okay, cool. This is ready. This is ready to start distributing. And then, of course, at that time, coronavirus hit. It's like China, where our manufacturing is, boom, right? So yeah.
The adventures of an enterprise.
Exactly. But we managed to resolve those issues. We basically had, some of our team members in the peak of coronavirus in China be like, I'm going into China to make sure that our manufacturing does not get affected, because otherwise we're going to be screwed. So yeah, awesome people in the team. And then
I've met some of you here in the co-working space, and I can say the kindest, smartest, amazing team that they have put together. So lots of credits, of course, to the founders that
second kindest, second smartest.
They're this kind. Yeah. And so, all right, so you get the technology together.
Yeah.
Once you're ready to distribute it, you have COVID that hits. You have to ensure manufacturing. There was the chip prices that I'm sure affected you guys.
Chip prices went up 8 times. That heaps of crazy stuff. But basically, we managed to just hustle and find markets that were open, where you can actually leave your house to go and install something in a remote community, right? And we found energy companies. So mainly in the Philippines, also in Nigeria, where there's 80 million people that don't have electricity.
How many?
80 million.
80 million people in Nigeria don't have electricity.
In Nigeria alone, yeah. It's the biggest, off-grid place in the world. And yeah, so many amazing people there. So we got to get them all energized. But yeah, basically we found markets where there was mobility, right? And then we found the energy companies, and we're like, hey guys, here's this technology. You can set up a mini grid at half the cost of a centralized mini grid by doing it in this distributed way that's more efficient. And then on top of that, our software that we developed remotely monitors and controls this entire network. Right. So you don't have to go out to the village once you've installed it to manage things.
So you have like, it's the equivalent of having smart meters, but all in the package. So you come in, you electrify an entire community.
Yeah.
Plus you can manage it remotely.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at an energy company, like one of the reasons why they wouldn't deploy is because the cost of setting it up is high, right? By doing the distributed nature, they're reducing the cost of transmission and distribution by like 90%, making it way cheaper. But then the second reason is, okay, now I've set it up. Now something goes wrong, I have to go all the way out there and fix things, and if it breaks, then the entire network goes down.
Right.
With the distributed network, the entire network doesn't go down. A single point comes out, benefit of distributed energy or distributed data, anything like that. Right. But then they can also fully monitor and control everything using the software platform. So let's say they're selling power to someone in a village in the Philippines. You can see on the platform if they are, for example, stealing power. All then right. You can push a button and cut them off from power. And then they're like, damn it, okay, now I'm going to go pay for my power so that my power gets turned on again. Right. So that's really what the platform does. And so far, more than 5,000 people have access to energy from Okra, which is pretty awesome.
That's amazing. 5,000.
5,000.
Amazing.
Yeah. And we've distributed, or actually rather, we've sold. So we've pre-sold enough to energize about 13,500 people right now. So we've just got to get those off the line and into the hands of our customers.
All right, so done in the pipeline just for implementation is 13,000 more, 13,500 more.
13,500 in total, yeah. That's what we'll be at.
All right.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. So that's Okra, that's the team, that's Affy. And now we're here today for a reason. I think the world should know about what you guys are doing for sure. And actually, you're working on an important milestone. I don't know if you want to mention that or if you just want to hint at it.
Okay, nice. All right. Well, thanks for the plug. Thug Pugs giving the plug. Nice. But yeah, basically, our whole company philosophy is about democratization of opportunities, right?
Power to the people, right?
That's right. In case we forget. But yeah, no, we won't forget. So that's what the whole company is about. And we started from, a crowdfund where people just basically gave us money and they were like, give us a t-shirt and we want to see you succeed. And now we're at the point where we're really scaling, right? So there was those 13,500, but on top of that, we just signed an agreement to energize 60,000 households, which is about 300,000 people. With partners in Nigeria over the next 3 years.
Amazing.
So
amazing.
That's going to be huge, but in order to do that, in order to grow and deliver on these promises, man, you know what it's like. We need to have a team and the best people to do it.
Of course.
So we're actually launching an equity crowdfunding campaign. So this time, democratizing the opportunity to invest in the company. So it's not just institutional investors. Anyone can even put in $10, $50, $100, get a piece of the company. As the company grows, they get the upside. So
right.
I think that's pretty cool.
All right, amazing. So crowdfunded equity now ongoing.
Yeah, it's on the virtual platform. I'll share the link.
All right, we'll put it in the description as well.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Let's talk a little bit about.
Now let's go into what we're doing
NFTs,
together. Let's go. All right, so NFTs, crypto, all that.
Yeah. So on your side, you've just been here almost every night. I know you have a family as well, and I think I'm hustling hard, but I see you and your eyes are just red and you're smiling and you're like, we're going to do this. We can do this. So tell me a little bit about what got you excited about NFTs, and I can share a little bit about myself too.
All right, fantastic. Let's start there. All right, so Thug Pugs is an NFT collection, and the reason we got started is one of the team, there's 6 of us at the moment, 4 of us really started it, and one of us actually pumped us into doing this.
Very nice.
And this guy has been working in the crypto space for a few years, and we just thought it would be a lot of fun to try and do it. Most of the team has 20 years of experience in their different areas, so we knew we could do something good. And what you can do with NFTs, and like NFTs are hard to explain to someone who's from the outside. Every time you talk about NFTs to someone,
it's a picture.
Hey, it's a picture. What is this? This is crazy. You guys are crazy. This is not real, etc. Like if you see it, you believe it. And what we're attracted to is the quality of the art. So Thug Pugs is hand-drawn collection made by a real artist with also 20 years of experience. Everything is hand-drawn. Over 170 trades. Like we really put our effort into it. And the why is not only because we thought it would be fun, but we think we can, with the community, release features that will be fun and last years. So there's a lot of value to put out there, but we can also make impact, because the amount of funds that you raise from a sale of an NFT collection is quite sizable, and you can do meaningful things with that, right? And that's why we're talking here today, of course.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I found super inspiring about your team. Like, you guys obviously are so passionate about the design, making it beautiful, having the interesting character traits like potentially mating in the future and a bunch of really cool
Breeding
things.
is there.
But also, like, every time I'm talking to the team, they're like, right, how can we do things in a way that's going to make the world a better place as well? And I mean, that's why we're having this conversation.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Oh, and I appreciate you guys being open to it. So on your side, when you look at crypto and NFTs,
Not saying that just having a beautiful Thug Pug isn't making the world a better place. It definitely is too.
I agree. I love them. All right. And so, well, today might as well just say it. As part of the Thug Pugs collection, we're launching an impact fund. And what we're gonna do with that, the impact fund. Well, we're gonna support other projects off chain and on chain, right? And so, Affy and I, here in the co-working space, in the breaks of our hustling, we've come together on an idea. Okra, they're bringing power to the people, and they have been using the goodwill of people to help do that, right? And
soon we'll have thugs bringing power to the people.
There you go. Yeah. You're gonna have Thug Pugs, not just thugs, Thug Pugs helping Okra bring power to the people through NFTs, right? And that's what we're presenting here today. So the way this can happen is the way you guys work to begin with, right? So you have your kits, you have the communities that are off grid, and you need some initial investment to be able to get the kits and get them in the hands of the developers, of the companies that go and actually implement that, right? And that's the setting of how NFTs could help, right?
Yeah.
And when you show us the pictures of these houses before and after, we saw that you can really connect to the problem and to the solution, right? And so what we're currently working on is this idea of two communities. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about the locations and what these look like. Basically, get a collection of the photos of the homes that people will be able to electrify by buying the NFTs of these photos, and then getting airdropped an updated photo of that home electrified, right? That's the plan, right?
Yeah, well, I think it's super creative and inspiring. I think like some interesting just like background to this is, I read recently that, and I've been in the crypto space for a little while as well, but I read recently that there's now currently more than $2 trillion that are tied up in the crypto markets, right? So obviously, like, the whole world right now is looking at how we're going to reinvent the future, and crypto provides a trustless and verifiable way of seeing what's happening in this future. But anybody can invest in it. It can be Dave, it can be your mum. Anyone can invest in this future that we're creating, and the world has already demonstrated that they're willing to get behind that, right? And then if we look at energy access, we need, according to global estimates, $300 billion to be invested to make sure that currently a little less than 1 billion people can get access to electricity, right? with Okra's technology, we can drop that to roughly 140 to 160 billion dollars of investment, but that's still a lot of money that we need to put in so that these people can get access to power. So I think marrying these two concepts, which is, okay, why don't we let people invest in bringing power to these households, and then give them a sense of ownership, via like a digital asset, along with a record that, hey, I invested to make sure that this household in Nigeria has access to power. And then I'm not sure about the mechanics of the NFT, but potentially they could trade it, or otherwise they could just show people that, hey, this is something cool that I've done. You guys should maybe do a little bit more of the same too.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, and that's the NFT community. Again, you have to see it to believe it. That there's so much goodwill, right? And people are really looking for ways to show that NFTs can have a good impact in the world, right? And your project definitely does that. And that's why we're so honored to be able to figure out a way where the NFT community can actually help bring electricity to these homes and apply some of the money that is being directed to crypto to the real world, as you were saying.
Yeah, I think that would be super cool. And like in terms of the impact, these households are often spending about $20 a month, which is like $240 a year, for diesel fuel to get power for 3 or 4 hours at nighttime, right? And to put things into context, like a $650 kit would enable a household to get access to 24/7 energy, not just for lights, but refrigeration, even water pumping when they need it, and all of these things help these households not only just have better quality of life. But think about it, when you've got refrigeration, you can catch fish and keep it in there and then sell it at a much higher market rate, right? When you got water pumping, when it's dry season for half the year, you can actually grow crops, so you're like doubling your income, right? So, and of course, not to mention like these households will then be connected to the digital economy, right? So they can then get on the internet, learn online, get access to digital banking, even buy their own NFTs in the future.
There you go. Create them, sell them themselves, right? Like you not only you enable the basic economy, but also the creative economy, right? There are bound to be artists in those communities that can find a way to express themselves and actually go to market. That's so inspiring, right? Like, it's really, really cool. It's really beautiful. So these two communities that we're talking about, where are they?
Cool. So basically, we've got a number of communities.
Right.
Still in the brainstorm phase to see how this works, but we've got a community in Haiti, and we've got a community in Nigeria that I think would be really, really exciting to pilot this with. In Nigeria is right by the Niger Delta, which is basically where there was like a lot of oil mining and stuff going on from Shell. So these communities basically displaced, had to move. A lot of them have like makeshift houses, so they're on stilts. Yeah. Basically, as the water levels go up, these houses basically stay there, right? Have no access to the electricity grid. Basically, they're like, if we get power, and these people are so enterprising, right? Like once these people get access to power, the whole world is like their opportunity, right? So that would be one of the villages that we set up over there, and then a village that we set up in Haiti that we're considering. So in Haiti, you have not only is like the grid not extended very far, but the power in the grid is only available for a few hours a day because there's not enough generation, because you have to get like fuel all the way over, right?
It's because it's an island, of course.
So it's challenging. So there's some communities which basically there's some power lines there and people are like hanging up washing on the power lines because they're just not really useful.
Right.
It's crazy, right? Can you imagine that?
All right.
No. So there's a community and there's about 500 households there, and we want to make sure that they can get connected and get access to the modern economy as well.
All right. So that's the challenge. That's the goal for this project. Of course, Okra's challenge, their goals are more ambitious. Said 1 in 7 people in the world don't have electricity today.
That's right?
Yeah. So there you go. If you're watching this you now know of the size of the problem. You know what these guys are doing. Not only are they enabling it, but they're doing it in a much more efficient way. And you can participate in the crowdfunding. You can be part of the solution. And hopefully, as we move forward with the NFT project, you'll have yet another way to help make impact in the world. Thanks to Okra.
Hopefully this is, the first step. Energize 1,000 households, and then we've got, millions more to go thereafter. This could be the start of something huge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Affy.
Awesome. Well, yeah, great work. Thanks for having me, man. This is exciting. Let's figure out how to smash this out. Can we get feedback from the Thug Pugs community?
Yeah, I hope guys and girls leave comments below the video, in our Discord, on Twitter. I'll link to Okra's website as well. Whatever social you guys have as well will be there.
Yeah.
If you want to give it a shout out right now.
Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Just search Okra Solar. There's Okra LNG, Okra AI. There's heaps of Okras. Okra Solar is the one.
All right, Okra Solar.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
Affy, it's been an honor not only to have you here at the space,
Cheers.
but to also get started on this project together. What you guys are doing is really amazing, really inspiring. Your team is one of the best group of people I've ever met. You guys are amazing. It's really a privilege to
I
be
can say the same. Let's do this, man. Here's to a few more late nights, or many more late nights, getting all these projects off the ground.
Let's go. Well, hopefully we'll get to a point where all of us can sleep normally. Right? Sleep is important.
Not until everybody has energy.
Let's go.